Sure, it's recording to the cloud. Okay. Whew. It's been a busy day. Went to Christine's appointment today, and the doctor was thrilled. The physical therapist, they said that she seems like she's ahead of time and she doesn't need to wear the splint anymore, although she'll wear it to protect it when she's out walking and other stuff. But it's healing great and gonna check her again in 6 weeks. They say 6 months to a year before you get full motion, everything, and pain gone pretty much. I don't know how long
Yeah,
it take, but it was
sounds
good news.
good. Good. Well, we're having another open forum tonight for everyone. So this weekend, next week is open forum, and then if you guys saw the newsletter, we're having 2 weeks from tonight. We're having the next introduction class, both in person and online at the same time. So from the church at Springfield First Christian Church, back when I used to do the classes back in from 2018 to 2020. So if you guys can come, if not, you can Zoom in. And then Charlie will on Thursday, the 17th of July is when he'll start the 4 to 5 p.m. open forums for those of you that kind of want the more open questions, interaction like we are doing tonight. He's going to start those that week as well. So any questions to start off, comments, anything? Do we have any new people? I think everybody's been here.
It looks like everybody's been here before.
Hey, Marcia, how are you? Did you go to book club last Thursday?
Oh, I forgot all about it. Came in and then I was so tired couldn't come. I
Oh
missed
yeah, I
it.
was wondering how many. Yeah, I missed it too because my
Yeah.
wife was in the hospital. She's okay. She had to have her appendix out, so I was.
Oh gosh, no. But I think the China study is a superior book, and I don't think any book we've read is any better than that book.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's one of
Yeah.
the ones I read many years ago.
Yeah.
Jerry was there. I came in at the very end of the meeting, last 10 minutes or so.
Okay, how many people were there? Does it look like?
I think there were about five.
Oh, is that it? Okay,
Yeah.
pretty small group.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are we moving to a new day, or are we going to keep Tuesday? I'm kind of confused by all.
Well,
So
that's why we keep going over it. Go ahead, Scott.
yeah. So it's the same. So open forum tonight, open forum next Tuesday, just like normal. And then 2 weeks from tonight, we're doing it live in person at the Springfield First Christian Church, where I used to do the classes from 2018 to 2020. But it's also going to be over Zoom at the same time. So we have much better technology. We've tested it. It's going to be really good. You'll see us up at the front of the church doing our talk, but then you'll also we'll be able to share a screen, and then Debbie will be monitoring the chat, and then people that have questions, she can um, turn the volume up on so people can in the church audience can hear the people on Zoom here. And so that's going to be a hybrid class, so just both in person and online at the same time. And then that Thursday, starting Thursday, the 17th of July, Charlie's going to do open forum like we're doing tonight. He's going to start doing those on Thursdays starting July 17th from 4 to 5 p.m. Just because we know it won't be quite as interactive as it is right now, just dedicated online Zoom class. All the content and everything will be there for the Tuesday classes. But if you want that little bit of extra back and forth, like we're doing tonight and last week, for example, that'll be on Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. for Pacific time. Charlie's going to do that because I'll still be at work at that time on Thursday. So he decided to do that just in case people didn't feel like they get quite as much interaction from the hybrid class as they are from the dedicated online classes. So any questions about that? Good. It is hard. We tried to do hybrid classes. You probably remember a few months back, and it was just the technology we had. The internet wasn't good enough at the Grange, and so it was a little bit disjointed, and it was hard to hear, and wasn't
It
wasn't the
was.
best. Yeah, and it is really hard to do two classes a week. Do a Friday in person and then repeat it the following Tuesday. It makes more sense to try to get it back to a hybrid, but we just didn't have the technology. But it looks like it's going to work pretty smoothly at the church. So hopefully there'll still be something for everybody with having the Thursday class if you feel like you want more interaction from what you learned on the typical Tuesday class. And I have the schedule up on the website. It has the 12-week schedule with the introduction class, meal preparation and planning, weight management, calorie density, social connection, stress management, sleep health, the cooking demonstration. We'll see how that. Charlie may have to hold up his laptop computer or something, or a cell phone. We may have to do something a little more creative for the cooking demonstration. Um, and then diabetes and heart disease, the magic of fiber with GI and cancer, food label reading, the child nutrition and plant-based diets for families, the risky substances and food addiction, and the physical activity. So we're doing essentially the same series we did last time. We're hoping to get a bunch of new people joining in. Oh, you have a question, Marcia?
Yeah,
No.
well, actually, a comment. Oh,
Yeah,
which one?
Marcia. Yeah, you, Marcia. Yeah.
Okay. My daughter, you know her, Scott, Lori, Morgan, she's got diabetes now. And she's going to the Cascade Self Management and Education place out there by Costco.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at her healthy eating. And then they have, starchy grains, vegetables, fruit, non-starchy vegetables, but protein, lean meat, poultry, fish, eggs, legumes, cheese, yogurt, nut butters, and tofu.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty typical American Diabetes Association type of a diet.
And I would say, who is sponsoring it? Meat and
Exactly.
dairy is
Yeah.
sponsoring that, so they can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And I went there too when I went there for a little bit. And yeah, they even, Susan, oh, what's her name? She's advertises yogurt or used to. So yeah, they would do something with her. I can't even think of what her name is. But yeah, so pretty bad. That's all I had to say
Oh yeah.
for now.
I have a question. Um, I've been reading the book Ozempic by Dr. Greger, and I'm wondering if anybody has talked about that, or, have you two doctors, looked into that?
Yeah. Actually, I bought the book. I watched every one of his videos and actually gave a talk I think, last February to a number of providers, clinicians, because it was in Idaho, I believe, was the conference. I did it in coordination with another doctor. Um, and I learned a lot, an awful lot. I learned that we make our own GLP-1 if our foods get absorbed by the L cells down in the lower colon. I didn't realize we could make our own GLP-1. And there is so much fascinating science. It's kind of changed how I talk about fiber and other things. So I actually scheduled a Ozempic talk at the Willamette Lane in Springfield, and one person showed up for the class. So, in, in spite of the fact that we have the information, there are times when we get just a wee bit disappointed that no one really wants to hear it. although they had construction going on around there, and there were maybe a number of issues, but maybe people just didn't know what that was. I find that hard to believe, but um, nonetheless, we will continue to share that information. And Gregor's book is excellent, and his videos are really very wonderful to watch. And
What?
thanks for bringing that up.
So what? So what book? I didn't know. I mean, he did a series of videos on Ozempic on GLP-1s, but I didn't know he put out another book.
He does. He has a book. I think it was $8 I paid or something like that. It's a thin little book. Should I
It
bring it up
is.
Oh,
and show you or no?
Well, wait a minute, Charlie. I'll go get mine.
Okay, get yours. Good, Marcia. Yeah, I've carried it around. I read through some of it, but it's identical language that he uses in the videos. And so if you listen to the 6 or 7 videos that he has on Ozempic, they're all grouped together, then it's just very redundant. There isn't any additional information that I was able to glean, so I kind of got bored with it pretty quickly. But I thought someone else might be able to use it. There's the book. It's called
okay.
Ozempic. Uh, Turn it so you can see how thin it is.
It's a
It's not
skinny
very
book.
many pages. But for those of you who like to read, it has the information. For
Yeah.
those of you, I like videos myself. It's much more interesting and engaging. So watch the videos on his site. Just do
And
a search for GLP-1. Yes, go ahead,
is is the
Clarice.
book is the book by Gregor or Gundry?
Dr. Greger.
Okay, I'm kind
Michael
of
Greger.
surprised because everything I've heard from you is that we don't need Ozempic. We could just do our own GLP-1.
Yeah, you can make your own
Yeah.
GLP-1. And that's what he explains in that booklet. And he explains it in the videos on his site, nutritionfacts.org.
Oh, so the book isn't promoting the use of Ozempic.
No, it's
No,
the risk benefits and natural alternatives to GLP-1 weight loss drugs.
Oh, okay.
It's essentially an anti-Ozempic book.
yeah, it's an
Okay.
anti-Ozempic book.
He's
Okay.
not
Right.
promoting it.
It's just explaining the science about it, how it comes
Okay.
from Gila monster venom, and it's built upon that and other stuff.
Actually, I learned more. In the saliva, and it's so that they can survive in the desert, so that it slows their digestion down, so that they don't need as many calories or fluids and things like that. That's something else I read somewhere recently.
Ah,
I can't remember. Yeah,
that's interesting.
so it's actually just in their saliva. It's not necessarily. I thought it was venom too, but I think it's a chemical in their saliva that the function of it is to preserve so they don't need as many calories, as much nutritional needs when they're in the desert as a desert species.
Well, I'm not asking you to answer this, but I'm kind of surprised that it's become such a big thing when in actuality you can. And me, how did they even know the Gila monster had saliva that would slow the digestion? I mean,
uh, I don't know. There's people who are researchers who are in
yeah, I
like a
guess.
different world than what most of the rest of us live in.
I
My
have
question
to
is how
wonder.
how did oh,
My
how's it?
question is, why would you want to take a pill
Right.
when you can have a whole food plant-based diet? Why would you want to take a pill that's going to mess with your system?
Well, it's not even a pill, it's a shot, isn't it?
It does come in
Yeah, it's a
pill
shot.
form too. Yeah, there's like was it Rybelsus is the pill form, but yeah, mostly injectable. The question I always have is like how people figure things out. It's like how did they ever figure out to make coffee from a bean? Yeah, well, let's
Yeah,
grind this bean up and then run hot water through it and drink it.
yeah,
Somebody figured that out at some point.
yeah.
Well, did you find the book helpful, Marcia?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you find the book helpful?
A couple people in my little area, 49 people, are taking the drug and they seem to lose weight and then they stop. It just stops. But I think, why would I take a drug when I can eat whole food plant based and I am a normal weight now by eating whole food plant based? And I don't have any drugs. I don't have any arthritis. And that's why it started me on whole foods was my hands swelled up and I thought, oh, this is arthritis. This is what my grandmother had, my mother had, my father had, blah, 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 blah. So I went, what causes inflammation in the body? It took me to a TED talk with Dr. Neil Bernard, and that's what got me going on. He said in an hour talk, don't eat meat, dairy, oil. Oh, what are you supposed to eat? Well,
Broccoli.
well, there's a lot of food out there you can eat. It's just, but I just wanted to learn more about Ozempic because a couple people were using it, and I thought, why? Why would you bother? And I think I used to belong to a program here in TOPS, Take Off Pounds Sensibly, and everybody is still overweight. I went whole food plant based, and I'm 120 pounds. God bless. Gotta love it.
I found the same thing when I was up in Oak Ridge, that there was a TOPS group up there, and they invited me to give one lecture, never invited me back again, uh, because I didn't tell them things they wanted to hear. They wanted to hear good things about the bad habits,
Yeah,
and yet it's a small community, and there was one lady who took on the whole food plant-based concept out of their group, and she lost a ton of weight,
yeah.
did really well, was doing great for several years actually. And then the social pressures, or who knows what, just kind of reverted back to eating how she was eating before. She didn't have the support group anymore.
It's hard without a support group, and that's why I like to come to these things. But when I go to a needle break at someone's house, they always give me fruit. Fruit, fruit, fruit.
Good.
That's what they give me. And I go out to a Saturday night dinner and I bring my own food. They don't care. I just bring my own food.
Yeah.
So, I mean, last week I had split pea soup. Everybody else had meatloaf. Ooh.
Yeah, Clarice.
Um, okay, so I tried really hard to follow this diet, this plant-based, but I'm also noticing that sometimes I go up a couple pounds, I go down a couple pounds. In 1 week, which is totally crazy, I gained 9 pounds, but then the next week I lost it. And I I was out of town, but I was trying to be really careful about what I ate, and I was absolutely shocked when I saw that. And so I go to Monarch, and you know what Monarch is?
Yes, the weight loss place.
Okay, I don't eat their food. I just go to weigh in and take my blood pressure. And last week I gained 3 pounds, and then I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's that I've had too much water or too much liquid. I don't know. I mean, is it kind of normal to have an up and a down with this plant-based diet?
Well, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, we can have an up and a down, but my prediction as to why you gained a bunch when you're out of town is if you're eating food from restaurants, even if it was plant-based vegan foods, they're really high in salt, and so people that are on a plant-based diet tend to become more salt sensitive. So I was salt sensitive before I even went on a plant-based diet, so I was really had that issue, and then when I went plant-based, it got even worse, and so to the point where like I would like if I would eat out on the weekends, we did this a lot. My wife wouldn't want to cook on the weekends, and so we'd go get vegan options out at restaurants on the weekend, and I would usually gain 5, 6, 7 pounds just for eating out on the weekends, and then but usually by so I'd be like you know, 5, 6, 7 pounds heavier on Sunday night than I was on Friday night. And then by Tuesday, Wednesday, I would be peeing, and I'd be back to by that next Friday, I'd be back to my baseline weight again. So it was just water retention from the salt. And so you become more sensitive to that. And so that can happen a lot. And so you can kind of monitor, you know, trying to keep your salt intake consistent from day to day. Don't suddenly eat a ton more or a ton less. But other things where you might not realize, like even like bread has quite a bit of salt in it. Of course, if you go out to restaurants, it's going to have a lot of salt. Anything that's in a packaged food, it's convenient food, even if it's vegan or plant based, is going to can become an issue. But it's just water retention. But
I never,
also the food at restaurants tends to be high in calorie density too. So if you don't end up losing it back right away, then it, you know, could just be from more calories. But that's just my thought of maybe what was going on there.
well, I never, ever, ever add salt, but I'm sure that when I've gone out to eat, what you say is true. I don't doubt that. But anyway, it's frustrating to not have a steady down.
Yeah, you just kind of have to plan ahead and not eat those foods out. You try to bring something with you, or try to have a
Yeah.
plan in place, or ask for no,
Oh,
no salt added, things like that in the
Yeah.
cooking.
Well, like I sometimes will go to Cafe Yum and I tell them not to put the yum sauce on, and I'll just say, give me a teeny little thing of it. And sometimes I'll dip my fork in it just to get a teeny taste. But I hope that's not too much salt doing that.
Yeah, I don't know how much salt they have in the rest of the dish if they add it to any of the cooking processes on the other toppings, like the beans, things like that. Sometimes they
Oh
add a lot of
yeah,
salt to that. If you think
yeah,
about anything you're eating out, they're trying to make it taste good for the general
right.
population, and the general population is used to lots of salt. And so if they make everything like we would make it at home with no added salt, it would taste terrible to the average person. So anytime you're going to get something that you buy out, it's always going to probably likely have a lot of salt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, Clarice, you could do an experiment on yourself. You could say, for 1 week or 2 weeks, I am not eating out anywhere. I am not eating any food that anyone brings to me. I am only preparing my food. Not only that, I'm putting all the foods that have a package, a label on it. I'm going to put them out of sight, out of mind. I'm only going to eat fruit. I'm only going to eat veggies as I get in the market that don't have a label, that I either cook, heat up, or eat raw. I'm only going to have oatmeal, let's say. I'm only going to eat potatoes, but I'm not adding any butter or sour cream or any, foods. I'm going to eat like Esselstyn might suggest for a week or two, not for the rest of my life, and watch what happens to your weight. I doubt that you'll have any fluctuation up and down. I think it will just be going down. And
Well,
then you say,
I don't have any foods that are in packages. I've got rid of all of those.
you
But
got
I'll
rid.
try it.
So I'm just kind of curious then, what do you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Um, well, I sometimes I have oatmeal. Sometimes I'll have, well, I'm trying to do this. My primary care has wanted me to do that intermittent fasting of 16 hours. So I'll have, fruit or oatmeal or barley oats or flakes. Sometimes I'll have millet. I think I probably needed to eat more vegetables.
Okay.
Are, are frozen vegetables okay?
Yes, they can
They're
be
not
even
considered.
healthier. They can be healthier than vegetables you've been storing around in the refrigerator for a week or week and
That's
a
what I
half.
was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, so any adding more vegetables is definitely a healthy choice. Having 4 servings of fruit a day. Do you have 4 servings of fruit? And 5 serving of vegetables. 3 serving of whole grains. That's a cup of oatmeal and then a half a cup of something else like rice or quinoa, and then beans or lentils. Do you eat
Yeah,
those?
yeah.
And so are you eating anything else like vegan cheese or a
No,
lot of nuts and seeds or
no.
avocados or olives?
Well, I do sometimes eat sunflower seeds. I do eat some almonds. Um, I ran out, but I was doing the hazelnuts. Was it hazelnuts or Brazil nuts or I think you
Yeah,
said twice a week?
yeah.
But I haven't eaten anymore because you know,
Okay. So maybe the nuts are in a quantity that are kind of keeping the weight up a little bit. And again, you could just say to yourself, I'm going to try for 1 week to follow what Esselstyn recommended to reverse heart disease and just see what happens to my body. Just a thought.
no, that's a good thought. And he's on your website, right?
Esselstyn,
Yeah.
Scott, I think you have a couple videos from him, but it's the book, How to Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, where he goes over what you eat and
Okay.
what you don't eat. And the book is not a big book. It's only like it's 110 or 20 pages of actual text, but the rest is
The piece.
recipes. So even though the book is maybe 400 pages long, maybe only 350. Half of it is recipes.
How do you spell his last name?
Esselstyn.
Okay.
Esselstyn.
Okay. Thank you.
Scott set me straight on how to pronounce it. I think I get it right. It took me a
Yeah.
number of years.
And people still do Barnard wrong. It's barn. You say barn like a barn out in the field. A Barnard. I've even heard his some of the colleagues that work for the Barnard Medical Center even pronounce his name wrong. It's
They
like
say Bernard. Huh?
Bernard, yeah, and he doesn't ever correct him. But I've heard him say his own name many times, and
Yeah,
it's Barnard.
Barnard. Yeah, Barn.
Barnard. It's funny because I watch the Mission Critical every Friday, 30-minute Mission Critical every single Friday. So keep up with
What
what
is
they're
that?
doing.
What's mission critical?
Oh, it's part of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, Dr. Neil Barnard's group. That they're very active in Washington D.C. and do have the Barnard Medical Center, and he's one of our mentors. We play his videos in the classes all the time.
Yeah. How come you've switched from Friday to Tuesday?
Because people don't want to go out to the Grange, and it's out in North Eugene. And Friday ended up just kind of petered out, and so we wanted to go try to do the hybrid class again, and that's why we're doing it at the church in Springfield. That's where I did my classes from 2018 to 2020. And I used to get 70 people every class in there. That was pre-pandemic, of course, but yeah, we tested out the technology because they do a live stream of the church at the church every Sunday. It's the church that my mom and my sister go to, so it's free for us, and they have some good cameras and technology and stuff. And so we tested it out. Looks like it's going to work well. So we'll every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. It'll be in person and online here over Zoom, so you can attend
I I
remotely or
liked
in
it.
person.
I liked the Grange because it was nearer to me than Springfield, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, there was more people that felt it was
Did
too far out and they didn't want to come clear out to North Eugene. So the majority tends to win. So
yeah, I know. I realize that.
The seating is more comfortable at the church also.
Oh, probably, yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna give that a. Nothing's ever set in stone, so that's it. It's a fluid situation, which is why it's so important you subscribe to the newsletter, read the newsletter every week, pay attention to the website, so you keep up with what's going on because things are always changing.
Right.
There are other venues that we've looked at other churches and other venues, but the cost ranges anywhere from, I don't know, the lowest cost is for the classes every week is going to be 250, $300 a month for us
Oh,
versus
that's a lot.
maybe even up to $500 a month if we were really to get some other spaces. And so, uh,
Free is good.
huh? Free is
Free is
good.
good.
Yeah, that's what we figure most people like. And we haven't had like money raining from the sky to be able to pay those kind of fees.
Right. Did you have to pay the Grange?
No, they were very gracious about having us come and be a part of them because kind of we could attract people to introduce people to the Grange. So they were feeling they were getting a bit of a benefit and and the rental space. No one was banging on their door to rent Friday nights. So that's the reason why we set this at Friday night, which we didn't
Yeah.
feel was the most ideal time for most people, but that's what they had available for the freebie.
And we might still do some like cooking demos there, other
Mhm.
events, so we're still going to be associated with them, and or we might do one-off classes there. So we're still going to have a relationship with the Grange, just yeah, for the every weekly class, making the change.
So I was at the walk and some of the women were talking about a cooking demo. Are those still going on or how does that? Because I didn't see it in the newsletter.
Yeah, so there's a cooking class going on right now that's not free. So Tamara Wilhite, who's the Food for Life instructor from PCRM, who did the cooking demo during our last series of 12 classes. If you attended that, she also did a little Q&A on cooking demo on cooking for the online class during the last 12-week session. And so she is a Food for Life instructor. So she's currently doing a 4-week cooking class that was $20 a person per class, so $80 for the 4 classes. And this coming or this last Friday was class number 3. This Friday is 4th of July, so they're skipping that one. But then I think it's then the following Friday is the class number 4, and she limited it to 12 people, and it filled up really quickly because she wanted to have a fairly small group so that everybody could participate and see and taste the food. And she does some instruction at the same time. And so yeah, she's doing that right now, and that's at the Grange. And so she'll probably continue those as well, whether that's going to be at the Grange or um, some of the other places we're looking at. But she'll also do the cooking demonstration for this next
Mhm.
cooking or the next 12-week cycle, which right now it's scheduled for her to do that on August 12th. She's going to do a cooking demo for the online and the hybrid class.
So it, is the church, are they Whole Foods plant-based oriented? Or is it just that
No,
you happen to know the right people to get
yeah, it's
involved?
it's it's the church my mom and my sister go to. So
Right, right.
it's
But
been in our
are they
family. Yeah, no, they're not. It's not. It has nothing to do with whole food plant based or any of that. It's just a Christian church that that happens to be my mom and my sister are the kind of in leadership there, and
oh,
so that's how I was able to do my classes pre-pandemic there back then as well. And then they liked that I was doing classes there. It's just then we were looking for bigger places and stuff at the time because it was filling up. But and then we was a big long pause with the pandemic to get back to in-person classes. We did all these online ones for so long, and then we started back at the Y, as you guys kind of some people already know, and then we went to the Grange, and so we've kind of now come full circle, come back to the church.
and are you do you reach out to the Seventh-day Adventists in Eugene at all? I haven't.
I've reached out to the Seventh Adventists. I talked directly to the pastor several times. He has gone to the board once or twice. he says they always have a lot of questions about what we'd be doing and how we'd be doing it. I tried to explain to him how we got started at Roseburg, how supportive the Seventh-day Adventist Church was there. And he finally told me um, before we started searching around, I think it was just a few months ago, he's just decided there's just too many questions and not going to support it.
Hmm.
So,
We should have
That
you
seems
go
like a
to the meeting and answer the questions.
well, I offered, I make myself available, whoever will listen, and I made several suggestions, but for some reason they just don't want to do it yet. It doesn't mean it'll never be done there. It could be that the board changes, or maybe the pastor changes, or, he right now is in charge, as I understand it, with Eugene and the Springfield one. And maybe he was just too busy and overloaded and just didn't want to talk about it, add another something onto his life. Um, whatever reason, there must be some reason for it. It just allowed us to start expanding out after he kind of told me that, we started expanding out to Campbell Center and Willamette Lane and the place in Springfield. So we've developed a number of different free venues, um, and we'll see how that goes.
And we looked into the Unitarian Church, but that was going to be over $200 a month. So they charge a lot for their to use their space.
But someone may come up with a venue. If you come up with a venue that's a reasonable thing, or we figure out a way to fundraise if they require a fee, um, we're willing to pay if we find some source of funding, which we don't have right now. It's sort of out of our own pockets.
would
It at the church seems a perfect solution.
I
Well,
was
Yeah,
just no.
that's my
the
opinion.
church kitchen is a bit small.
Oh,
And so that's one of the drawbacks. And I don't know how many people the church actually holds, whether it hold 200, 150, I don't know.
Which church?
The one, your church, the one.
Oh, 70. 70 is that was every seat was full and extra chairs. Yeah,
Yeah.
70 is as many as it'll hold in the sanctuary for classes. Yeah.
And one reason we didn't jump back to that church and went to the Grange is because the Grange could hold like a couple hundred. We assumed incorrectly that our group would really be expanding, that people would be jumping on, inviting their friends and family and neighbors, as happened in Roseburg before it became a blue zone community. But apparently, a smaller community, word of mouth works a bit better than in a larger community like the Eugene Springfield area, where people aren't as close together, and so the word doesn't get out as much. And people, you know, it hasn't. I've been surprised by the lack of people jumping on board and wanting to learn more.
And we used to have 50 to 60 people on these Tuesday night classes during the pandemic back about 3 or 4 years ago. Charlie and I had
Yeah.
50 to 70 people on these Tuesday night classes, and here we have 15, right? And that's counting Charlie and I. So you guys are the core people. But yeah, we used to have a lot more people come to these classes, but so not sure what happened. Where did everybody
I
go?
think a lot of organizations have experienced that. I think a lot of churches, I think Zoom impacted a lot of places. It was easy for them to be at home and go to church via Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
So
See,
Oh,
do you think
Elaine,
I can interrupt it a little bit?
Sure.
I need to take care of my celery. What's the pros and cons of using the leafy part
Of what?
of celery?
Good.
I
it's
got
edible.
It's
Is
a dark. I would say it's a dark green leafy and it's healthy. That's what I would say.
So it's worth doing. It's
Oh,
worth,
It's more fiber.
okay, so it's
It,
okay to
it,
use
and
the.
if you don't kill all the bugs on it, you get probiotics with it.
Oh, good. Okay. Well,
And you don't have to pay for them.
it's kind of wilted. I kind of left it too long here and I need to do something with it here. So I thought, well, do I throw it?
That's where the flash frozen veggies come in, that
Yeah.
they don't wilt.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's the bad part of buying this. And usually I buy the celery without the leaf. It's cut off.
Don't
So
beat up on yourself. We've all been there before, and we've all had food waste, and
yeah.
we try to keep it at a minimum, and it's a struggle.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna leave my audio on so I hear you, but I'm gonna go take care of it. So
Okay, that's fine.
enjoying
We're gonna
today.
just mute your microphone. You'll be able to
Yes,
hear
yes,
us.
yes.
Well, you know, having a garden and everything, one year I had lots and lots and lots of parsley, and I made some chimichurri, and it turned out really good. And then last summer, I had carrots. I had all these carrot tops. And I don't particularly like the taste of carrot top, but when I made chimichurri out of it, oh my gosh, it was really good. And so I thought, oh, I'll try it with celery. And I didn't like it. So anyway, I mean, so I think it's kind of an acquired taste or something for the celery leaves. So anyway, it's good for you. It just if you like it.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have
Oh,
Go
I
ahead,
have a
Marcia.
question. Um, I work down at the bar, and every Friday we have what we call a mafia lunch. And I don't know how the name came to be known as a mafia lunch. It's been going on for about 30 years. Right now we have 10 members, and I go down there. The only thing that I can have at this bar is a potato without any butter or oil.
Uh-huh.
And then I can have a little salad with no dressing. Well, they came out with some zucchini, and she said proudly, she came out and said, it's just lemon pepper. And I said, ooh, lemon pepper's got salt in it. I don't want any salt. She said, oh, it's the second ingredient. I still don't want it. I just, that's the only thing I've had for about 3 years now is, well, longer than that, is a potato and salad. Potato and salad. Everybody else is getting their meat, getting their
um,
crap.
so would they let you bring like your own salad dressing?
Oh, probably. I don't think she'd
And
care. But I just, it's
and like
it's a small salad. I don't mind eating a plain salad. I make a big salad. I make a big.
mhm.
I make a big one, and I make a 5 Star Revolution. Have you heard of them? Matt Bennett.
No,
Well,
What
he's
is
got
it?
a
what is
book
it?
out, and I do his dressings a lot because he puts in, oh gosh, a couple dates, a lemon, some sesame seeds, some onion powder, maybe some cran raisins, three quarters of a cup of distilled water, and I put that in my mixer and I mix it all up and I pour it on my salad and it just covers it nicely. But
And who is this?
Matt
Where do you
Bennett
get?
from the 5 Star Revolution. It's a book. I heard of him when I was taking Karen and Rick Dina raw course, and I got his 5 Star Revolution cookbook. I mean, it's just a nice little cookbook.
I'm really sorry. All I can hear is the word revolution. What
Five
are the words?
star, 5 stars
Oh,
Revolution
5 stars. Okay. Thank you.
by Matt Bennett.
So have any like medical practices? I mean, I keep thinking Kaiser, aren't they all trying to be into um health and wellness and everything? And they just came here to Eugene not that long ago, and I was just wondering if they um
Well,
had
I
any
like the
interest in it.
diabetes and the Alzheimer's, and they say meat is okay, dairy's okay, oil is okay, and it's not. I don't, but they're being
Oh,
funded
Kaiser?
by them. They can't say anything bad about them.
Kaiser?
I don't know about Kaiser, but I know
Oh,
diabetes and the Alzheimer's unit. My mother died from Alzheimer's. I don't think, 20 years ago, they didn't know about this stuff.
Well,
well, they still don't for most part.
Kaiser Permanente did have they actually have uh, a handout for plant-based diets for physicians, handout for patients that they published through Kaiser Permanente, and they actually had. I know my cousin who lives in LA. He did when he developed diabetes. He had Kaiser insurance, and he went through a diabetes treatment program, and it was plant-based through Kaiser Permanente. I don't know if that's still going, that program, but then also when I first met Craig McDougall, John McDougall's son, he was working for Kaiser Permanente in Beaverton when I was living up there, working up there. And I shadowed him in his clinic one day, and that was a whole food as medicine program that he was doing at that time. He since left there, and now he works at OHSU in Portland. But yeah, so Kaiser had been really proactive towards plant-based nutrition for they recommended it for all their participants, but I don't know what the current status is of those programs, if they're still doing those or if they've kind of fizzled out, or I have no idea now. But that was about 10 years ago when I was up there, 11 years ago, 12 years ago.
So I thought they were into preventive medicine, or
Yeah,
diet is a big part of that. So
right. Just getting the sell on it, for whole food plant-based, it's not the most popular thing. People don't like to hear, oh, you just want me to be vegan. Oh, no matter how many times you say whole food plant-based can be a spectrum, it doesn't necessarily have to be 100%, but go in that direction. People just hear plant-based, they just think of vegan, and so sometimes I don't know if that's one of the reasons whether or not they still do that program, if that's one of the reasons why or not, I don't know, but.
well,
So I have
I know
another
one of the
question.
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that a vegan diet can be, a very um, bad diet, very high in processed foods and so on. Just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy, which is why I think people tend to say whole
I
food
used to say
plant-based.
I was vegan, but a lot of people would say I was vegetarian. And so I went whole food plant based. But you can have a cookie and that's vegan because it doesn't have meat, doesn't have, all that stuff,
Or yeah,
all that other stuff. And yeah, yeah.
well, wasn't Crisco vegan? They provide non-plant stuff.
Yeah, it's got to be good.
So
Uh,
I've heard you talking. I know about salt and what have you is a good, but is there like a cookbook or is there a video on your website or something that talks about how to like the thought of I mean, I never ate potatoes, but the thought of a potato without anything on it seems kind of dull. So, um,
You can take a potato and take legumes and your vegetables, take a little sauce and throw it on your potato. You don't have to have a plain potato.
well,
what kind of a
talking
sauce are
about
you?
chimichurri, chimichurri is really good on potatoes. It really
What is
does
that?
What's
taste
it
good.
called?
Oh, chimichurri. It's kind of like a pesto, but it was um in Argentina they use it to go with meat, but I found good recipes that don't have oil in it, and it doesn't have cheese like the pesto and so on. And I don't think it has the nuts either. But anyway, so you can go online and find I always have to go through about 5 or 10 recipes before I find the one that I want to make.
So
Do I
it's
have the
something you
ingredients?
make, not something you buy.
Right. Yeah, I don't think, well, I think if you bought it, it would probably have, because a lot of chimichurri recipes have a lot of oil.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Never
Yeah.
heard of it.
And you can also just put pepper, garlic powder, garlic, or other herbs and spices. Just you don't have to use salt. And then if you know, like we talk about in the classes all the time, if you just put a little pinch of salt on something at the table on your food, it doesn't take very much to make it salty and help with the taste. It's what you want to avoid it from the processed foods and the cooking. It's just yeah, there's nothing bad about just a little pinch of salt on the surface of your food if you want if you need that. But the point other people are making is there's lots of other things you can put, other herbs and spices and other foods you can add to your potato, so you're not just sitting there eating a plain potato.
Or do a like a chili, put it over potato.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
There's a lot of
Chili,
things you
any
can.
kind of beans. You could put rice in there. You could put quinoa in the potato. You could use hummus. You can use any of the whole grains along with the potato. Uh, it's pretty simple actually. And then throw in a handful or two of something green on on top of it. Throw your favorite salsa, different kinds of salsa uh, can add flavor to it. And then for dessert, you have fruit, one or two servings. Easy. And it's not a plain potato anymore.
Yeah.
Nutritional yeast. You can sprinkle that in there if you want a little cheesy like flavor. There are so many options.
Yeah.
Well, there are cheese sauce recipes. I made one with, I think it was potatoes and cashew, and I can't remember what. Oh, carrot, potato and carrot. I think it was, and it was really good. It was almost too sweet, but I don't remember. I don't think it had sugar or sweetener in it, but
I
it
have a
just
couple. I have a couple of those cheese sauce. Brittany Giroudi has a great one, and I use that quite a bit. Put that on a potato. Woo, yum! It's a yum.
yeah, along with some broccoli or
Yeah,
spinach or chard or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Would be a whole meal.
yeah, yum.
Yep.
One of the things I've done a few times is there's a company called Earthbound and it's organic and they have a spring mix. And I've just been eating it out of the package and not putting anything on it, but just eating it. And I mean, it kind of takes a while to get used to it, but at least there's nothing on it and it's organic. And the packaging isn't plastic. It's I think it's an environmental, it looks like cardboard, but it's not cardboard.
Plastic. Excuse me. But you can also use potato and stir fries.
You know, you can take a potato, slice it up, boil it for a few minutes, then stick it in the oven with your spices that you're going to use. That's a yum. Oh, yum. That's good.
Well, I grew up not eating potatoes, so now it's like, oh, maybe I could have a potato, but I'm thinking about, I mean, these
Yeah,
are
just
good
don't do it.
options.
Do you still
Or
have
if you
a waffle iron?
No,
Okay. I learned a trick from Ray Johnson, who taught me how to take a potato, less than a medium size, and you just uh, cook it, but then you squeeze it down in the waffle maker, and it makes this crunchy, really tasty treat.
and what do you put on it?
He just eats it just like it is without putting anything on it, but it's
Really?
crunchy and uh, it's a different texture than what you're used to. It's got a crunchiness to the outside of it.
So it's like a French fry without any oil or salt or.
Correct. And it does it pretty quickly too. You just have to leave it in for about 20 minutes, I think.
Ah, okay. Oh,
Yeah, I'm always trying to come up with things that use what I have in my garden. So,
You have a big garden?
yeah. And it gets away from me at times. Yeah, I've got 14 beds that are about 10 by 4. Well,
Wow.
kind of 3 on top. I don't use wood because with that many beds, that would be very, very expensive. And everybody thinks they need wood sides for their beds. And yeah, if you have a confined area, small area, great. But when you got a big garden, it's like, no. And I found one thing when when I have used raised beds with wood is the slugs love to hide between the soil and the wood. So I think there's actually fewer slugs if you don't. But anyway, I mean, if like I say, if you have a confined area where every inch counts, then um, would make more sense. Oh, well, if anybody's interested in saving resources, um, I saw online one of the ways to make a bed, especially if you're just starting out, is use like a cardboard box, a big cardboard box, and then put chicken wire on the outside of it and then plant inside the box. And eventually the box disintegrates and you can take the chicken wire off and then you have your bed kind of like mine. But anyway, there's all sorts of different things you can do.
What do you think about tofu?
Good.
What about
There's
it?
all sorts of,
What's your question?
I mean, is it healthy?
Yeah.
oh,
Yes, for sure.
yeah. I was
Edamame
just,
is the healthiest.
What's that?
Edamame is
Oh,
edamame is the healthiest. It's the least processed. But if you want a variety and you don't want to just keep eating the unprocessed, just kind of heated up a little bit or minimally processed with the heat, then the next healthiest is tempeh, which is a fermented soy. And the third in line comes tofu. Still a healthy choice, just a little more highly processed. And
much healthier than beef.
yeah, and there's different consistencies. There's soft, which you make the puddings out of, or you add a little cocoa and you make a chocolate, whatever it is, treat, delight. And then there's the more medium where you can make it into a stir fry. And then there's the firm and extra firm, which you can cube up. And my mouth's watering as I'm talking about it because we ate that tonight. But it was not just the tofu. It had my wife's fingers in there, which added flavor to the other things that she used, like coconut aminos and like a nutritional yeast and like um, a not chicken. I think she uses a tiny bit of salt on them. It's kind of like a breadcrumb thing with a little salt in it. And I can't stop my mouth from watering. I may have
you
to
know,
go.
I've seen seasoned tofu, but it probably is seasoned with salt and other naughty things.
Well, if you make it yourself, you can put as much or as little salt as you want.
True. I've talked about it at a restaurant.
Oh, well, a restaurant, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So many times I'll go to restaurants because I don't use much salt at home, and I'll go to a restaurant and order a meal, and it's so salty that I can hardly eat it. It's just, and I will complain to the waiter, and so on and so forth, because there's no way you can take the salt out. I say, hey, there's salt shakers on the table all the time. Don't put as much salt. And if people want more salt, there's that salt shaker. They can take care of it. And I don't know how many times I've told people that at restaurants, and
Right.
I don't know. Doesn't soak in. At least that makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else.
Other questions?
I appreciate the free flow of questions.
I guess everybody here is a little more seasoned with all this stuff. A lot of you are been to coming to classes for a while.
Seasoned is a good word.
It is. So we have a couple iPhone or phone participants. Do you have any questions that you want to chime in?
Or type in the chat, and if you aren't comfortable unmuting and speaking up.
There is one. There is something in the chat. I don't know what it is, so.
Stuff from a while ago.
Well, I really appreciate what both of you do. I think it's a really wonderful service, and I'm very grateful.
We'll keep doing it, even if there's only one person here, like Charlie
Oh.
did a class with one person. We just were hoping that more people would share this information, spread the word, and bring more people in. To change the culture, we need to spread it.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm a stamper. I mean, I stamp cards and I send a little note, and I sent the note at least 3 times, 4 times a year. This lifestyle medicine. Go to it, select message, and then they'll send you a message. And when this time, and you can come to this. But people are having heart attacks. They're having all sorts of problems. I mean, I used to send out cards to about 40 people. Now it's about 20 because everybody's getting a little sicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard.
So
Marcia, I like your dash plant-based after your name.
I do too. I am. I don't deviate at all. I'm too old to
Okay.
deviate.
So I'm wondering if um, we're reaching out to environmental groups would be, a fertile ground, so to speak. I know Food and Water Watch is an organization I donate to. I guess you could say I belong to it. And they are anti the factory farms. And I don't know if um, and like I just got a thing. World Wildlife always sends me stuff, even though I never donate. I don't know what they think is going on, but they had a list of what was it, 10 to 15 things that you could do to help save the planet, and not a single one of them said of those suggestions was decrease your intake of meat. And yet that right there
Doesn't he have good?
could
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if reaching out to some of these environmental groups would be um, a way. I mean, you don't have to talk about the health benefits, so well, you can just mention it, but to decrease, especially beef, the greenhouse gas emissions, and See if
You know,
that's
I'm at the point
fertile
where
ground.
I'm at the point where I don't miss meat. I haven't eaten red meat in years, but I don't miss chicken or fish anymore. I haven't, maybe once a month I'll have a little chicken and something, but that's like if I go to a restaurant and get a salad, they might have it in there, but I don't miss it.
Cheese was the hardest to give up.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't mind having some cheese once in a while.
When I was a kid, my grandpa always took us to a restaurant. And one of the things that I always got was chicken. And I love chicken. But I haven't had chicken in, gosh, 8 years. Just don't want it. It's worse than beef.
It is?
Yeah, I think.
Well, I've seen, read, heard, YouTube maybe, a lot of articles or whatever about how they are breeding all the farm animals to have more fat in them.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm kind of curious, like, okay, so they have the the nutrition facts for chicken, for example, but they breed them now so that they have a lot more fat and everything in them. Have they updated the food guides, the nutrition guides? Are they still using the ones from 50 years ago when the chickens were, skinny chickens? And I was just wondering about that. Have anybody know,
Well,
have any information on that?
well, the way they get around it is they do fat by weight, not by calorie. So they inject the chickens with salt water, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
then it makes them heavier, and so then their percent of fat by weight is still, it'll say like 97% lean or something. So you think, oh, it's only 3% fat. Like, well, that's by weight, but if you actually by calorie, it's like 60, 70% fat. It's a lot of fat. And
Well,
so
that's sneaky.
it's just those
Yeah.
tricks that they do, right? Yeah, right. And
That's very
then
sneaky.
I mean, you could go, well, you could say, well, chicken's still slightly better than red meat from a nutritional standpoint, but actually the amount of saturated fat people get in their diet is more from chicken than red meat because Americans eat so much chicken, they get more of the saturated fat in their diet from chicken than from red meat because people tend to eat more chicken than red meat. So that's why it's you could kind of say it's worse than red meat because we eat so much of it of the chicken that we get more bad health or bad nutrients from chicken than from red meat.
Because we think
Uh,
it's healthier.
Exactly. Then we eat so
do
much of
you
it.
Although
do you ever
chickens are better environmentally wise, but
But yeah, just slightly.
yeah, I mean, well, the
Red
ruminants are
meat's
the
the worst.
worst.
Yeah, beef is the worst, yeah, for the environment.
Any ruminant, goats,
Yeah.
sheep, all that.
you ever done or might you do something on sleeping?
Yeah, we had a whole class on sleep health. And you can go back
Oh,
into the class archives and watch it. You can go back like the 2023 ones, or you could just go back in the class archives and go in reverse order. Pam Burrell talked a little bit about it. She also did a little bit on it during the class at the recorded class that from the Eugene Vegan Fest from May 4th. She talks a
oh,
little bit about sleep health there, but we also, yeah, I think there's, if you go further back in
because
the
I don't
class
recall
archives.
it in the classes I've been to, but that doesn't
Yeah,
mean I.
we had it. Yeah, we had it last go around at the Grange.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. And it's recorded on the website.
Okay, good.
Do you have a specific question about it? It's definitely really
Oh, just
important.
that I have a lot of trouble sleeping and um it's frustrating. I have trouble getting to sleep. I have trouble getting up, waking up. Since I'm retired, it's I just it's I'll lay awake till maybe 2 or 3, and then what do you think about melatonin?
Well, it's not good to have to take anything to help you sleep because it might help you fall asleep, but it actually affects sleep quality. So it decreases your sleep quality. Any kind of sleep aid, whether it's melatonin or Benadryl or Ambien or any of those things, you want to work on your sleep hygiene to get the best sleep environment. And so that's where you start. So that's on the website also, the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, the 1-page handouts on all the 6 pillars, including sleep health. So you could start there. And then also the class talks a lot about it. And then one of the books we read in the book club was why we sleep or how we sleep. That was a really good book that we
Why we sleep.
yeah, why we sleep, exactly.
I
That
was
was
sad that I missed that, but I couldn't go to any of the sessions.
yeah, you can still read the book. It's really
Sure.
good.
Sure. Is Lisa still going to be doing books?
No, she hasn't been doing it this last go around because she's starting her residency actually as of today. And so it's I got a new first year medical student that's doing the book club now. I'm looking to see
Is
if I
she
can
still
find the
open for is she still open for consultation, or is she too busy?
no. So if you it's on the class newsletter every week. It has the options at the bottom of the newsletter for the coaching, and that's Charlie and Pam Burrell are the 2 people that are still available for health
Oh, okay.
coaching.
Okay. I worked with Pam at the university.
Oh, cool! Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the book. Why We Sleep by. Oh, I guess I got to put it closer because it's in my background. It's just good. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. It was a good book.
I quit using Benadryl years ago because I was told that it could impair your cognition.
Yeah, especially for more elderly people. It's
Right. Right.
any of the sleep aids aren't a good idea, but I would say melatonin's the safest one of all of those. But even then, you don't want to have to depend on anything to get you to sleep. You want to work on your sleep environment, and if you're having depression, anxiety, sleep apnea, all the different things that could be contributing to poor sleep, you want to make sure you treat the cause, figure those things out instead of just medicating it.
How much melatonin have you taken?
Well, it's whatever
Uh,
it, oh yeah, say it's whatever it says on the bottle, but you want to try to avoid it.
Well, one time I had it was, I had to take continuing education classes, and we had a sleep doctor talk to us. And she said that if you get too much melatonin, it will interfere with your sleep cycles. And what she recommended, like I say, and she recommended 300, was it micrograms? Less than a million, yeah. No, anyway, it's 300, well, 3/10 of a milligram. And you take that if you wake up in the middle of the night and can't go back to sleep. Or you could take it. But she says that dose is effective, and doesn't overpower your system to.
I've
But
been hearing
anyway,
about
it's been a long time ago. What?
3 milligrams working for a lot of people.
No, it's not milligrams. It's micrograms. It's the
0.3 milligrams is
0.3. Yeah, 0.3 milligrams. And it's hard to find that dose in the. So for a
well,
while when I couldn't sleep,
I have a 1 milligram and I think it's a 3 milligram. It's 3. I don't know if it's milligram or not.
well, the 1 milligram, if it's a tablet, you could cut it in half. That would still be 500 micrograms.
Dr. Greger had some videos on jet lag, and he talked about using melatonin for that, and also, or as an alternative, pistachio nuts. I think it was 5 pistachio nuts was the equivalent of an over-the-counter melatonin or something. But it
Really?
used for, yeah, but used for jet lag, not for chronic sleep problems. Because again, that the latest science is saying that's you don't want to take anything for long-term use. But if it's just for correcting jet lag, or you had a death in the family, or something that's really kind of temporarily disrupted your sleep, then it's not such a bad thing to have to take something temporarily, but to help you get rest. But in sleep science, you don't want to depend on any medication to get you to sleep.
I'm trying to find my plug-in. If I disappear, I'm not being rude.
We still see you. Mhm.
I don't know what happened to my plug. Weird.
So is the Roseburg stuff still going? I was just curious.
Yeah, they're going strong.
They're still keeping it up and everything, huh?
Yeah, they have in person and online hybrid classes. I don't know what they had the last session, but the session before this last one, they had 145 people.
Wow.
So is there
And
some doctors that run it, or who how does that work?
well, it's been taken over sort of by a nonprofit called UC Veg, Umpqua Community Vegetarian Education Group, but they have a doctor who is one of the speakers, and they also have now a residency program where they have the residents go through the classes. Um, and so a family practice medicine rotation. Um, many of the speakers are the same as they were 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Um, but again, it's a small knit community, and word is spread, and they've got the hospital to engage, provide blood tests, um, so people can compare benefit, where they are to begin with. The hospital's donated time. They have a group of doctors' offices that are supportive, and they had the blue zones come in and um, encourage the classes and other things, movement activities and social connection and those sorts of the pillars of lifestyle medicine, pretty much. So, it's hard to compare a smaller community of 25, 30,000 people to one that's almost 200,000.
Then
Um,
if you add Springfield, that's probably getting close to 300,000.
yeah, I think we're 175 or so in Eugene, and then Springfield, probably another 100. I don't know what it is, but
I think it's more like
much
50,
50.
50 to, yeah, I think it's 50 to 70 for Springfield, something like that.
So it's still a huge number of people, a lot more. And I suspect that over time, if we keep doing what we're doing, ultimately our organization and the number of people that's involved will outnumber Roseburg. But boy, it's been like the tortoise and the hare right now, it seems like.
Well, I remember, oh, it was before COVID, around COVID time. Dr. Greger even went to Roseburg.
He's gone twice, and he's had the auditorium almost filled at Lane Community College. I don't know how many people it actually holds, but my guess is at least
Umpqua,
300,
uh,
maybe 500, or close to 1,000. I don't know how many people.
Southern Oregon Community College, you mean, or whatever, Umpqua Community College.
Umpqua, yeah,
Yeah,
Umpqua
you
Community,
said Lane
not like,
Community College.
yeah, it's Umpqua Community
We
College.
wish.
Yeah.
And, it's just a mass of people. that had come out to see him. Now we're working on talking with Clapper, Dr. Clapper, Michael Clapper, to come out and do not come out, but maybe Zoom a session with us. Maybe come out if he's on the road seeing medical students. And we're going to kind of negotiate with him. We just got started this last week. Um, um, I've talked with Zach, Zach Burns. I know you know him.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah,
The
he
one
spoke
who,
at the
the
Plant Nutrition
resident.
Conference last September. Yeah.
Right. Well, I told him maybe even you could do a talk sometime in one of our classes or at an event that we have. And I was going to bring that up at the board meeting coming up to kind of see when it could work in where one or both of them might be engaged a bit for, a period of time and then have a Q&A session afterward. I think that would be kind of fun. And Zach sounded like it likely would happen.
Who are you talking about?
Michael Clapper.
Oh,
Are you familiar with him?
I've heard the name, but I don't remember why.
Well, you might want to go to our site. Uh, I think it's under the video section. The best
Right.
diet for humans and for the health of the earth. It's a YouTube video. Scott's going to show you right here. You want to watch this because people clap every
So
time I show it.
click on videos this is the homepage of the website. You click on videos, and I have it down here a little ways. There's a whole bunch of videos here.
They clap for
And
Clapper?
right here, inspiring lecture by Dr. Michael Clapper, who gives this talk on lifestyle medicine to medical schools. So you can just watch it right here. This is
Most
him.
powerful strategy
Yeah.
for healing
Yeah.
yourself and the planet or individuals in the planet. It's really a wonderful video. If you haven't seen it, you gotta click on it. It's worth your time, I promise
Did
you.
you show it at one of our classes?
I
Couple
have
years,
shown it before.
yeah, a couple years ago, I think we showed it.
Oh,
He's the one that spoke at Willamette Hall several years ago. Yes. And what I thought we could do is try to get a bunch of the pre-med or students, not pre-med, but who are health profession students, uh, try to get their coordinator, whoever their person is, I have a name, to see if they will bring on a group of students that would listen to him and then invite our class members and even invite Roseburg uh, members to a Zoom session, or if we could do it in person, it would be even better. But
Yeah, we could do a Saturday, maybe do it like on a Saturday or something.
yeah, so anyway, something to think about. We just started kind of chatting back and forth a little bit.
Just curious, Charlie, where did you practice when you were still practicing as a doctor?
So I started in Oak Ridge, Oregon 49 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oak Ridge, 8 years, round the clock, delivered babies, set fractures, took calls
That
day
was a
and
lumber town at the time, wasn't it?
It was 2 mills, and one went down the year or two after we came. And then it continued to dwindle down, and people were paying in cords of wood or vegetables. One person was a jeweler and he paid in jewelry. Uh, didn't help with funding my kids' education or my retirement. So I went into emergency medicine after 8 years, did that 30 years. And then 13 years ago, Sanjay Gupta changed my life and started on the path of preventive medicine and lifestyle medicine. which I didn't, it wasn't designated lifestyle medicine back 13 years ago. I don't know what it was designated. It was healthier eating,
Did you
food as
say
medicine. I think it was more food as medicine at that time.
did you
That's,
say Sanjay Gupta?
yeah, Sanjay Gupta. He was a key to changing my life. He did one special, and then all it took is one question from my wife. Should we do this? And I did not want to do it at all. And I laugh
Kicking and
about that.
screaming, huh?
I did it kicking, biting, screaming, and I just did it for her sake. I said, hey, you could suck it up for a month and do this. You could do anything for a month. And then, God, I was 10 pounds lighter, not an additional extra bit of exercise, never hungry for the whole month. Like I was just a cholesterol drop from 240 to 148. I was like
Wow.
jumping up and down. I was so happy and I was hooked, and it's lasted. And it's all because of that special where, he reviewed how you could unclog coronary arteries.
Was this
Once
a class or something?
it was
How did,
just a special on CNN called The Last
oh,
Heart Attack. I'm sure it's still
oh,
on YouTube. It's
oh,
The Last Heart Attack by Sanjay Gupta. It was an hour special. Changed my life.
Well,
hmm,
didn't you
yeah.
say a long time ago that it really helped your wife's heart problems?
Well, it's been the reason I did it is for her health because her dad died in his early 40s of his first heart attack. Her mother and brother had both had their chests cracked for bypasses. She was next in line. She was as old as they were. And I feared that she was going to die and I was going to have to get a new wife. I did not want to do that. And it's been 13 years. And I still have the same wife. She's still cooking the meals, and I'm loving them. And I'm happy she's around, and she has no evidence of heart disease. How good is that?
So is her cholesterol way down?
Her cholesterol was at 212, and she was able to get it down to about the first month she did this, it went down to like 170. And then she really got even more strict and it went to I think 38. And then she started after a couple of years, nibbling back on the nuts and avocados and, the foods we all like. And her cholesterol went back up to 180. So we've had the kind of bouncing uh, back and forth between nuts and avocados and peanut butter and almond butter. Those are some of the issues. We haven't had an issue with oil particularly. Um, and
But then that's add to the cholesterol, huh? Because of the fat.
yeah, Yeah, I kind of look at it this way. You add in a bunch more calories in your body, and all of us are slightly different. Says, how are we going to store that? What are we going to make? Where are we going to put it? So some of us make more cholesterol than others. Some of us make more triglycerides than others. Uh, and so we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but if you're overeating on the number of calories, which the reason why we try to focus on totally whole plant foods is because they're low calorie density foods. It's hard to overeat. It's hard to eat too many calories. When you're eating foods that have 100 calories a pound, you get filled up mighty quick. 3 pounds, 4 pounds, as Scott has told you over and over, is about what the average person eats. And so if you're eating foods that are in the non-starchy veggies, you're eating like 400 calories a day at the max. You can't eat anymore. You're too full, but you're not getting enough calories to have enough energy. You probably need about 1,200, 1,000, 1,200 calories a day to have enough energy and feel good. So when we say you need to eat more to weigh less, we're talking about eating these lower calorie density food, even fruit is a very low calorie density food. You could live as a fruitarian. It's 300 pounds, 300 calories a pound for fruit. So if you had 4 pounds of fruit, which is probably the most you'd be able to eat in a day, you'd be getting only 1,200 calories. You would be losing weight eating that way. Now, the higher calorie foods like 400 to 600 calories is like beans and rice and potatoes and oatmeal. They're the non-processed starchy foods or non-processed carbohydrates, unrefined carbohydrates. If you just ate those and you ate 4 pounds, you might be eating around, 1,600 to 2,000 to 2,400 calories. You could gain weight by just eating those plants. So you have to incorporate a number of portions of fruit and non-starchy veggies into your life if you're going to get down to your ideal body weight. But you know how quickly you can gain weight when you're eating meat, dairy, and eggs, or when you're incorporating avocados, they're 750 calories a pound. Or when you're eating nuts and seeds, they're 2,500 calories a pound. Or when you add oil, it's 4,000 calories a pound. Those high calorie density foods are what we're encouraging you to eliminate for a while if weight loss is your goal. Stick to the foods that are under 400 to 600 calories a pound. Does that make sense, or did I speak too quickly?
No, that makes sense.
It may not be the most exciting thoughts that you have, but as long as it makes sense, you can focus your attention on, is this going to help me reach my goal? What you're reaching for. And bread, where's that? It's not down at 400 to 600. It's up in the what, 1,000 calorie range? I don't know, Scott.
1,200.
1,200 calories. So even though bread tastes good, I like it. I get it. It's not a path toward getting to the ideal body weight that you're trying to do. We're trying to make this simple for you. And all those spices you can add to make foods change their taste and make them more interesting, they have practically no calories. So if you don't have a spice rack filled with all sorts of different spices, start experimenting a little bit, adding some flavor to those potatoes, um, to the beans, to whatever else, veggies. My wife adds spice to almost every roasted veggie or steamed veggie that we have in the house. I used to think, oh, you just had to eat those veggies plain by themselves. You don't have to. You can add these different spices to them and give yourself a treat. I think I knocked her out of the room.
Oh, Marcia said she had to leave, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we're past time. It's 8:33.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So how about having your wife teach some cooking classes?
She did that years ago, and everybody wants her to cook after she teaches them, and she says, I'm not really ready to do that. And you know, she'll keep supplying the recipes, and I'll kind of keep promoting, but
You
we're
can,
gonna leave it to some of the younger people.
I can show you on the website though, the recording. It's way back in our old archives.
Okay.
I can show everyone where that's at. Let me go. Oops, go back to.
Oldies but goodies.
Yeah, I think I have it in the. So click on class archives. It gives you the full. And then you go. I think it's all the way back in our 2021 core
Four
curriculum
classes.
classes. And if you go there and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see right here, Christine in the kitchen video link from lifestyle medicine class, January 5th, 2021. So if you click this, it's an actual video of there's Charlie in his garden, and then it's a whole video of Christine cooking. It's an hour long.
And that's the greens that we eat for breakfast. Do you see how many leaves? It's 2 leaves of collard greens, 2 leaves of chard, and 2 big leaves of kale, wrapped up and then chopped up and then steamed. That's a lot of greens. We started with one small, tiny little leaf of green, but we've progressed up, and um, it's done us well.
So you could watch that, go back all the way back to January 2021.
Thanks,
So
thanks for sharing that, Scott.
yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
All right, it's been a good run, don't you think? We'll do
We'll
this
come
again next week.
next week. Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Good
Good
seeing you.
night. Thanks for
Stay
coming.
healthy and healthy.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.